two, one, action.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode 2 of the RTH podcast. We have our same usual people. We got J-Man, Mike, Goon, Kat, and we got Alex. Today's topic, it's going to be a good debate. It's going to be whether we believe single-player or multiplayer games are better, just in VR in general. Alex, me, and Goon, we are team multiplayer. These two are team single-player. We're going to let them start with their argument, and we'll go from there. So, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. Exactly what I'm going to start with. The Into the Radius games were some of the best experiences I've played on VR, and probably the games I hold closest to myself. I learned straight up, like, IRL organization, time management, like, logic. It actually helped me with some areas of real life. Nothing crazy, obviously, it's still a video game. But that game was just so impactful for me. It was great. It sticks with me. The game itself is fun, you know? It's scary. It was something new I've never tried. I was never much of a horror person. I tried my first Stalker-like. It was great. The second one needs work, but so far has potential.
It's getting there.
That's fair. That's a good example. That's a pretty good example, to be honest. I played Into Radius 2 with you for the first time. You got it for me. Appreciate you that. We still got to make a video on that. That's still on my list. But yeah, I'll say that's a very good kind of draft pick, I'd say. Really solid game. Game is beautiful. Like, genuinely, like, when I first played it, I was just in absolute awe with how, like, beautiful
second one looks way better than the first one.
Oh, well, yeah. From what I've seen online and from what I've played myself, it looks absolutely beautiful. Sure, it might come at the cost of a couple frames here and there, but honestly, really solid game, and genuinely can be terrifying. Here's what, Alex, do you want to give a counter here? What the heck?
No.
You want to give a
Yeah,
counter?
if you want.
Don't worry about it.
A little messed up.
Okay. So here's my counter, and I think this is going to be... Okay. This is going to be
Don't
a
worry
little bit
about it.
hard to beat here. My counter, Breachers. I will glaze Breachers till I die. I've played this game for almost 2 months, pre-ordered it like 20 minutes before the game officially came out, just so I could get the Elite Jesper skin. Have not regretted that decision since. But the game is just so much fun. It can be so fast-paced and require like the quickest reaction times, but it actually requires you to like think slow and think logically, because you could go for like some insane push and absolutely just full send it and get absolutely blown to pieces, and rather than just going the long way, nice, slow, and strategic, and then really paying off with the patience. So I think, honestly, one of the greatest games that we've had in quite a while, and definitely holds up to the more of the OG games that we've had in the past, if I'm being 100% honest.
Yeah. Like, when all of us 5-stack, and we've only lost twice, and both times it was 6-7. Like, it's a close fight when we 5-stack, and it was pro players both times. We put up a great fight.
It's a peak game.
I would like to point out, in the Breachers case, how much fun you have on that game highly depends on the people you play with. Because if you're playing with children, no offense to children, actually all offense, you're awful. You don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't have a headset on.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a good argument, but that's also kind of the case for really any game you play, to be honest. I mean, you can play a game.
You can play single player.
Okay, which side are you on? Are you on their side or our side?
I'm on both.
It's a double agent
I'm
here.
the median.
You
know what, that makes sense why he's here in the middle.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because I play both games. I play both types of games.
All right.
That's fair. All right, you guys are single player. You guys got what's your next draft pick? I'd say.
Well, I got roped into buying both Into the Radius and Breachers, but I gotta say, when it comes to single player, Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners is where it's at.
Ooh.
I have spent at least maybe 200 hours in both games, at least. Maybe no, total, not in both, because I didn't really like Chapter 2 too much, even though it added so much to the like core mechanics. But that game was where it was at for me. You guys know that I'm a sucker for PvE. I mean, I've logged how many hours of Helldivers and all that, right? Especially like TA. I have the same experience in TA that I would with Breachers. In The Walking Dead, Ready or Not too. In The Walking Dead, it was just like, I got it when I first had a Rift S. Okay, that is how OG it was for me. Before I had met any of you, and when I was like maybe 4 foot, I was a little kitty with my little hunting rifle in the shallows, walking around, and it was a surreal experience, having to shake the walkers off me. It was just, I think immersion beats the fun like the fun factor you get from multiplayer games. I play VR for, I guess you could say, escapism. I mean, why do you think I'm here right now in VR chat
I
talking
mean, who
with people
doesn't,
I'll
to
never
be
see in
honest, at
real
this
life,
point?
right? It's
We'll
just
fix that. Don't worry.
yeah, one day. It's just a matter of I think being so immersed in the world. Like with Breachers, if I get shot in the head, I'm just like, oh, I'm frustrated because I died in the game. In The Walking Dead, if I get killed by a walker, I'm gonna like actually terrified. Eventually, you get desensitized to that, but still, same experience. I think it just immersion beats fun in gameplay. Well, I mean, the gameplay's still amazing, but that's where it's at for me. Just feeling like I'm
honestly-
in the game.
That's a pretty good That's a pretty good argument. I actually kind of have to. I have to agree with you. I feel like immersion will definitely always trump fun, but I think what multiplayer has way beat out over single player is definitely just replayability in general. I mean, it's kind of you really can't argue against it. I mean, like you can like obviously single player games. There's the main storyline, whatever you got to do in it, and then missions and stuff. But and sure they can add more like missions to keep you like going and stuff, and more like objectives. But like realistically, there is no like multiplayer has so much more replayability because the huge defining factor is who you play with. Because you could play with this one group of friends where when you're getting on, you're going to have a blast. You'll be cackling the entire time. You know that whatever the objective of the multiplayer game, yeah, like us, all of us. I'd say every time we hop on Breachers or any multiplayer game, we're cackling. We're laughing, except when we're all pissed off that we're dying. But we're always cackling. And I think that's really a really important core part of VR and the whole community. And it's really what brings the community up. And I think it's just important that, like, just who you play with, because obviously one group could be, you could be cackling with them, and genuinely every single match is different with the amount of fun they're having. And then another group where you play it more seriously, maybe your comp teammates, whatever. But I think multiplayer just has that has that just completely beat over single player, because I could play Breachers way longer than I could play a peak game like Arkham Shadow or something. I just don't think there's any denying it, to be honest.
I gotta argue.
Never
Here,
mind.
you go.
Completely agree with that. But on the part of replayability, rhythm games. A lot of the rhythm games are best played single. Because if you're playing with other people, you don't really get full decision what you do.
Like Beat Saber multiplayer.
Yeah, Beat
Yeah.
Saber, Synth Riders, Pistol Whip. I love rhythm games
Pistol
on
Whip.
my being.
I love Pistol
To the point
Whip.
where I play games until I can't move my arms, and I do that for hours.
That's fair.
And like
That's fair.
that's replayability. And like, yes, I'm hurting, but it's fun, and I will do it over and over and over again.
I feel
And even like when you get the song, when you're really like, yay, now time to do better, hit more blocks, get a higher score. It's endless, really.
I
See
think
if you
that's
can
fair.
perfect it.
That's fair. I think it also just it'll get to a point, and like for like obviously rhythm games, and again just single player games in general, it's like you can only go like not even like only go, but like you at some point you're gonna reach a point where it's like, okay, sure, there's more stuff to do, but it's like I'm by myself. Like realistically, what is the point in having all this fun when it's by myself? And sure, you have immersion, but it's like, if you're not playing with somebody, or you're not like enjoying the presence of somebody else and sharing that fun, like what are you really doing? Like that's kind of how I view it. I mean, that's how I've always been able to stick with a multiplayer game much longer than I have with like a single player game. Because like with Arkham Shadow, I played that game for a solid like 2 to 3 months straight. Same with I haven't had Underdogs for that long, but like same with Underdogs, and I still am kind of playing it a lot. But like with Breachers or it would have been Echo, or like even with Pop 1, I was able to play Pop 1 for 2 years straight. I played that game for 4 to 5 hours a day. I grinded that game nonstop, and it wasn't just because I was insanely good at it and I played it a lot and I had my mechanics down to a point. It was just because the people that I'd become so good friends with, I couldn't leave them behind. Like it was just, the game was too much fun, and I just could not leave them behind. Which ultimately, this statement ages like milk, because I quit Pop 1 back in June of last year, so.
Jamin, you were talking? Yeah.
Yeah, I think me and Mike can both agree on the fact that single-player games can also be incredibly replayable. I have logged hours in After the Fall, Saints and Sinners, I can't recall the other ones, but really any single-player game. And I get the feeling of wanting that, like, you want someone else to be there, but what I think is they're not always going to be around. They're not always going to be around, like, as your friend, and just maybe not always online. Time zones, like just there's a lot of factors that key into them being there for you, whether it just to be playing with you, or in my example, I usually stream games like that are usually single player to Alex or Mike in voice chat, and it makes it more fun, doesn't it? It does make it more fun. I think it says a lot if a single player game can be just as fun and like replayed as a multiplayer game. Like, and then there's the feeling of once you've completed everything, right? There is a feeling of just like finality, like that is a story closed. You can wait for the sequel or move on to something else. That feeling is just satisfying to me.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Alex, you got anything to add to give you?
I do actually. I kind of want to loop back to what you're saying with immersion and kind of ITR. One of the biggest questions that there will always be to a single player game getting a sequel: will there be multiplayer? Everybody asks it in the Escapists, in Into the Radius, probably plenty of people in Walking Dead. That would be sick as hell to do. Be honest.
Yeah, I know. I
love
that.
I feel like that sense of immersion could absolutely be sick. Like saving your friend from death, or even genuinely dying that fast in a multiplayer game. And one of my thoughts was that, like, you can die, like, slowly, cinematically, for sure, in a single-player game. Like, you know, getting overran by walkers, or, say, like, there's thousands of snipers on, like, I don't know, Kol Khazaria, or the castle. Actually, I haven't been there yet, but... excuse me. Yeah, you can have, like, a cinematic hero's death, or in multiplayer Breachers, you swing one window and bam, your life is gone just like that. It honestly kind of puts a perspective on your own life, you know? Like, it truly could be done just like that.
I could just be walking down the street and a dude could feel like ending my life.
Well, that's taking it a bit of a stretch, but like...
Yeah. The guy with the spectral swings my house's window and I get gunned down. Yes.
I'm just mid-shower.
I don't know, I feel like it's just also immersing in, like, in this... Not the exact same way, but...
I think that's fair. I think that's a good point, because I feel like a lot of it could be while having that immersion by yourself, and as Mike once told me when we were playing Into the Radius 2, to like mute my phone and everything. That way it's just me in the Radius. I think also finding that perfect game, like a perfect multiplayer game where you play that with someone else, and just the immersion of you two like working, like of just your teammates, or just, you know, one other person, two other, however many people playing with, cohesively like immersed in that game, will always beat out a single player immersion game. Because I know that if I have friends that I'm playing with that are as immersed, if not more immersed in the game that I'm playing, then that will 100% beat out me being immersed in, like, say, Arkham Shadow or Underdogs. Because that's just that experience of just being like linked together. That'll always out trump single player immersion, in my opinion.
I can agree with that, because I've showed I don't know if you guys have heard of the VR game Bootstrap Island.
Okay.
It's like a survival on a...
I've heard of it. I've not seen much of it about it, to be honest.
I have played it, and it is an amazing game, don't get me wrong, but I can agree with the fact that, yeah, you definitely need someone else to be there for it to actually be entertaining. I can only go like 10 days, because the gameplay loop, I get that it's in like still in its early phases, but it is just make fire, wait until nighttime to pass, shoot the whatever that's attacking you at your fire with a musket, and then same thing again. Like, you keep exploring the island. The mechanics are great, like husking a coconut, smashing it against a rock, or manually putting the powder and ramming the cartridge down.
Like, I don't know, early stages of Green Hell, per se.
Yeah. There's just not anything that's keeping you to the game, continuing to play it. There's nothing that makes me want to return and play it again, unless I'm like on a whim, and no, I don't have Green Hell, I may as well go back to Bootstrap. But at least in Green Hell, in the Green Hell VR game, which I still don't own, there's a co-op mode.
It's pretty good. It is pretty good.
So, I want to loop back to what you were saying about replayability. Replayability in multiplayer games 110% depends on if the actual game is fun. Veil, I forced myself for 200 hours. The first 75 were great. From like 76 to 120-ish, I'd say we're alright. I kind of got into it. That was my kind of like, alright.
There was updates there. It was fun.
And then the rest from like 121 to the rest of the 200 was so just, I was forcing myself to play the game.
Not suck.
Felt like
just to keep my skill up, because if I would stop playing, even for a week or 2 weeks, sometimes even just a day or two, because the game was built off of a competitive player base. Obviously, they threw that out the window now. you would get smoked if you weren't warmed up. So I'd spend time in the aim trainer, and I would force myself to gold gun grinds. I have like 5 gold guns, I think, in Vale. I can't do it anymore. I know. Once again, back to Vale. But breachers,
threw in the towel. He's done.
dude. But breachers, I can spend breachers way more. I can spend way more time in breachers. I'm starting to hit the same amount of hours I have in Vale on breachers since we played it so much recently. It really depends on multiplayer game if the game is replayable. Vale got 0 updates after like the gun game, the one in the chamber. Got nothing. Yeah, and then with something like breachers, the core game itself doesn't need many updates to play differently. You can have different sight executes. You can run different guns. You can try different things. You can push a hatch. You can push a wall. You can rush through the door with 4 flashbangs. You can do what you want. Vale, you throw a nade over A site. I can't remember what it's called. You throw a nade over the A site wall. You push through B short. You get the guy who's elbow. You get the guy who's rat. You plant the bomb and you defend it. That's how you attack. That's how you attack on Miru. Plain and simple. Boom. That 200 hours.
It's been so long that Unk doesn't remember the callouts, huh?
No, I'm rusty.
Yeah,
I remembered B short was the door. I remembered rat. I remembered elbow. The door? See, you get my point.
Yeah.
And then something like I was saying, breachers has more executes. You know, a game like Contractors at least has mods. Exfil Zone. If that's your kind of thing, like extraction shooters, that's a big market now. Extraction shooters are huge right now.
Mm-hmm.
Tarkov, Arena Breakout, Hunt Showdown.
I remember when it used to be
bad of a game as it is,
when...
it's huge.
I remember
Arc
when
Raiders is coming out soon.
Oh yeah,
Sorry,
I saw that. I did see that actually. Yeah, I remember the market whenever I think when Expo Zone was first announced, I feel like I remember there being like in the community almost like an annoyance. It was like, dude, another like extraction shooter, and that's kind of how it's been for both flat screen and VR. Because like I think at a point it got to a point where people were like, man, we're just getting extraction shooters shoved down our throat, and 75 to 80% of them aren't even that good. But then you got that small percentage of the games that are actually good, which actually gives the genre a good, I guess, reputation, I guess.
Yeah, Escape from Tarkov, it's been out since 2016. There's a reason people still play it. It beats your ass and people play it for exactly that. It's not a game that holds your hand. Delta Force, I bet you that game's gonna die out soon. Marathon's gonna die out.
Oh yeah, it doesn't help that they stole shit, didn't they?
No, it doesn't. Not at all. Embark? Oh, that's Arc Raiders.
Arc Raiders, right. Isn't that an extraction too? I'm forgetting things.
Yes. Okay. Mostly PvE with some PvP. But mostly focused around fighting the robots.
Yeah.
Embark, pay me. I'll make the finals videos. I'll get on my knees. Side point, something like a single player game for replayability, so much more. With Into the Radius, you can do no using your home base. You can do specifically a gun. You can go with a scavenger run and use only stuff you found in zone. There's in-game modifiers to make the game different, or you can use one of those community modified playthrough versions. There's so much you can do. Into the Radius 2, there's so much variety. You saw how big those maps are.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's fair, honestly. And Underdogs has the same thing where it's like community modifiers or like weekly challenges, whatever. So I'll give you that, 100%.
So a lot of times that games come out with weeklies, you can do them in an hour.
So, has anybody changed sides, or are we all firm on what we kind of believe?
I'm in the middle now. I'm kind of in the middle. I see benefits on both sides.
I'm pretty firm with single player. I will gladly hop on a single player game, but I need some people with me if I'm gonna go multiplayer.
That's fair. I think right now I'm kind of lean towards single player, especially with the absolutely generational runs that we've had that single players had lately over multiplayer. But I'm still, part of me is just mainly still multiplayer. I played the same multiplayer game, Pop 1, for 2 years, so I think that still sticks with me. So it's kind of hard to, kind of lean away from that. But yeah, Alex, you stay in multiplayer?
Yeah, and I'm gonna say one more time, we still need a good VR ASIM game.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
I played Rec Room for the single player content.
No matter the topic, you're just gonna. That's gonna be.
It's gonna be like one of those commenters: day 1 of blank, day 2 of blank, day 3 of blank.
Day 67 of asking for a good ASIM game.
And my mom called again. Coming.
Okay, Tom, we're pretty much done anyway, are we?
All right. Thank you for watching. If I lock in, this video will be put out on the exact same day that it was recorded. Today is September. What's the date today?
30th, pretty sure.
Today's September 30th. Let's see if I can get this video out and edited by today. And I've already got the thumbnail ready to go too. I've had that done for weeks. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. It means a lot to us. Like and subscribe. Have a great and amazing day.